What is going on, YouTube? I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you are interested in purchasing my book, I will go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below. Today, I want to talk to you about extreme budgets, extreme frugal living. So I live in the state of California, and I purchased a house for less than $200,000, where the average price of a home here is $783,000. I live on about $1,200 a month. Now, the problem with that is that more than 500 of that, it's about 517 or 503, is medical insurance. If it weren't for medical insurance, I would be living on $700 a month. Now, just to put that into context for all of you, $700 a month is like, what is it? It is $8,400 per year. And I've lived on $1,000 a month or less my entire adult life until I moved back here, and the medical insurance it got me. But other than that, I live on $700 a month. And people always say it's impossible. But there are people out there that live on less than me. Now, I'm the only person I know of that lives on such a small amount that does not accept. I don't have any low-income electricity bills or welfare of any sort. I don't have any sort of income coming in from the government. I don't have food stamps, discounted medical insurance. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm the only person I know of that lives on so little that does not have assistance, government assistance. So let's put it that way. My home is mortgage-free, free and clear. I have no debt. I use a rotating credit card that I pay off bi-weekly. I don't even pay it off monthly. I pay it off bi-weekly. There is no rhyme or reason to that. It's just because I'm paranoid. I get paranoid because I was in debt in my early 20s and I never want to be in that position again. So I make sure that my credit card is always paid off. And people talk about expenses in the household and how they absolutely cannot live without this. They absolutely cannot live without that. So my brain, obviously, is going to be very different from everybody else's. So here's what I would like for you guys to do real quick. Think back to when you were a kid or a teenager. Back then, we didn't have any money. You don't have any money as a teenager or as a kid. And think of the best memory you can. Like, just go back and think of one of your favorite memories. And what is in that memory? Is that memory shopping? Is that memory at an amusement park? Is it buying things? Or is it like mine? My favorite memories cost nothing. Okay, so way back in the day when you were poor, you had some used crappy bicycle, no-name brand that you found on the side of the road that somebody was giving away, and you went and bought new inner tubes that were like $2 each. Back in the day, yes, they were $2 each. You'd buy new inner tubes, you'd fill them up at the local gas station, and you had a bike. That is how you got a bike when I was a kid. That's how I got a bike when I was a kid. What we had was these pegs. So you put pegs on the front and back of your bike. And and if somebody was so poor that they didn't have a bike, that's okay, because you can carry two passengers, one on your front handlebar using the pegs and one behind you using the pegs. So what me and my friends would do, and we all had the pegs going on, we would go down to the creek. We had this creek that was a pretty good flow, and it went from our town to the next town. And what we'd do, we'd all go down there, and then somebody would take their turn, and all of us would get into the creek and find a log and go all the way downriver to the next town. And you're like, well, how did you get home? One person who didn't have a bike was so excited to be able to ride your bike that you would tell them to take your bike and meet you all the way downstream at such and such a place, and we're going to float downstream and we'll meet you there. So that person would borrow your bike and go all the way downstream and hang out with their friends, hang out with all of the friends down at the end of the creek, and you would go with your friends and ride a log down the creek. That is one of my best memories. Guess how much money that cost? It cost nothing. Another thing is I have these friends who have a cabin in the desert. It's been passed down like a bazillion generations in this place called Darwin, that there are actually documentaries out there about Darwin, which is crazy. And their neighbor is Rick Gibson, who is on all of those documentaries, and Bill Bruce, who's on a couple of those documentaries, and Bill and Becky, who own the cabin, would invite us over there. And the best times that we had was going to this pit where you would have this big giant bonfire, and you would just be burning whatever wood you could find from old sites that used to be houses. You'd be burning wood, and they had bongo drums and a ukulele and a guitar, and we would just sit there and tell stories and laugh and have a great time, look at the stars. We would that was the best memories for me. Those are the best memories for me. So moving on to today, we live in an extremely consumer-driven culture, which it's not that I can't be a part of it. I simply don't understand it. I don't understand trying to focus beautiful, wonderful memories around spending money. I don't like eating out because it makes me ill. The fried food or the grease that they use to cook their food or whatever makes me, I'm down for 3 days. And I'm not talking about like I'm pooping for 3 days straight. That's not what I mean. It means it makes me so lethargic and tired. Now on here I talk about free, cheap, frugal meals. But the truth is I eat one meal a day and it's just meat and vegetables. You know, I can't go beyond that. And that is the cheapest way that you can eat. And that's the only way that I can eat. And then when it comes to people in cars, the debt that people accumulate, I think that there is a huge culture shift that needs to take place where people think that they need certain things. Advertising, every time you sit on your couch or step out your door, you just got to think to yourself, everyone is trying to get my money. Every single person that I come in contact with, every single place that I go, they are trying to get me to take money out of my pocket and give it to them. When you go to the grocery store, you go to the mall, you go to the thrift store, you go to the clothing store, every single person is trying to get your money. So when I do things, I make sure that they get as little as possible if it is a product or service that I need. Okay, so let's talk for a second about, first of all, student loans, mortgages, medical debt. You got to get rid of them. Those are the first things you have to get rid of, because student loan debt is not forgivable in bankruptcy, and medical debt is something that will follow you forever if you don't get rid of it. Same with student loans. If you already went to college, you got your degree, it's too late. You can't go back and get scholarships and grants. You can't go back and work your way through college. You have to get rid of those as soon as possible. And I can tell you from personal experience that living without debt, I've been living without debt for about 20 years, maybe a little bit less. For about 20 years, debt-free. And I have so much more opportunity than people who are in debt have. I have so much more opportunity. It's not about, flipping off your boss and walking off the job. That's not what it's about. It's about, okay, I live in this house. Maybe I want to move. So you save up your money for 2 or 3 years and you move. You just buy a house somewhere else because you have the ability to do that, because 100% of your income is staying with you. Because you're not, or not 100%, but close to. I save about 90% of my income. But that money is staying with you and you're not allowing other people to take it away. There's a lot of other things that I find I don't understand. I have a 25-year-old car. It just hit 90,000 miles. It was a garage-kept grandma car, a 98 Toyota Camry. Runs perfectly. It runs brand new. It still has the new car smell, and it's been 25 years. Almost no maintenance, just oil changes and tire rotations. And then eventually I'll need a new battery, but that's about it. 25 years old. I have liability only insurance. And people always tell me I need full coverage. Let's talk about wants versus needs for a second here. You want full coverage. You don't need it. You don't. You simply don't need it. There is a huge, again, with marketing, they're trying to get your money. There is a huge problem with people not understanding anymore because you are bombarded with ads 24/7, all day long, all the time. There is a huge disparity, a big disconnect between wants and needs. What you need is food, water, and shelter. What you want is steak, soda, and the nicest house in your town. That's it. And then every time I tell somebody something, like, you don't need that big fancy house, they will rebuttal with something like, but the school district, I want them to go to perfect schools. The dumbing down of America, it doesn't matter what school you go to. I see people graduate from school that are morons. I met somebody who was, 45 years old, had a master's degree. Didn't know what a CFL or LED bulb was, or incandescent. They didn't know what any of those were. They didn't know. So you can graduate from college and be a moron. I don't believe in college anymore. I believe in trades because trades are going the way of the dodo. And if you are a plumber or a contractor or an electrician right now, you have the ability to become a multimillionaire because they are few and far between. They're hard to find, and you'll never be out of work if you have those jobs. People always say that they need something that they don't. And it really is a justifiable thing in their mind. They're just trying to justify a purchase in their head. So I say I have liability only car insurance, and they'll say, but what if? But what if you get into a huge accident with so-and-so and it's all your fault? Well, for starters, that's not going to happen. I very rarely drive my car. I'm a defensive driver. And even if I had full coverage, that person can sue me for the entire amount of what my car insurance will pay. They'll say it's not enough, and then they'll go after me personally in civil court. And they can do that to anybody. So what's the point? And then having full liability coverage, if my car is only worth Kelley Blue Book $3,000, but I have full coverage and I'm paying $2,000 a year for full coverage, a year and a half I've already wasted the money of what it would have cost me to replace my car. And people always have a but. There's always a but in their mind. I tell people to switch to Mint Mobile, their cell phone, and they'll say they'll have some cell phone plan that's $120 a month, and I'll say switch to Mint Mobile, it's $15 a month. Oh, well, I like my service. Well, how do you know you're not going to like the Mint Mobile service? And then they'll say, oh, well, I don't get Mint Mobile service in my area. Okay, well, Mint Mobile works off of Verizon or AT&T or whatever it is. And then Boost Mobile works off of Sprint. This is not accurate. I'm just saying. Boost Mobile is $10 or $15 a month. You're paying $120. Go with them. It's the same network. Well, I can't because my husband says so. Whatever reason. It's always a justification in their mind. And then I will say things like, they'll say, whenever people are freaking out, they've got their back up against the wall, they're about to declare bankruptcy, the first thing how can I save money on laundry? Really? Okay, so let's do the research on laundry. The majority of the cleaning is done by the agitation cycle in the washing machine, not by the soap. The soap is, first of all, people overuse it like crazy, and what happens is that the soap suds stick to the fibers onto your clothes, and then they attract dirt and they make them more dirty so that you'll have to buy more laundry soap in order to get your clothes clean. Stop using laundry soap. If you want to save money on laundry, stop using laundry soap. Or get a Zote bar, which they sell for 58 cents now, and just do spot cleaning, and then the residue left from the spot cleaning, throw it in the washing machine. There's your laundry soap. 58 cents per bar. And it'll cost you 58 cents for probably 6 months worth of laundry. And if you want to save more money, wash it in a bucket, trying to save money on something so trivial and so small and so little is not going to make a large impact on your finances over the long term. You have to go after the big stuff. So you have to go over your mortgage, your medical insurance, your debt. Your debt is the biggest thing that is going to stop you from becoming free, financially independent. It's going to stop you from becoming wealthy. And people, you have to stop making excuses in your head. Stop justifying these huge purchases that are unnecessary, that you say are necessary. They're not. You say, oh, that's a nice $70,000 truck you just bought for commuting that gets 12 miles to the gallon. Oh, well, I need it because the kids have to go to soccer practice or something. I don't know what it is. Well, couldn't you do that with a sedan? No, but it's way, way better to do it in this big giant truck. I've met people who have 5 kids and have one car and it's a sedan and they can do it. Why can't you? Because they just wanted the truck. And they're justifying in their mind that the reason they bought a $70,000 truck was for their kids, which is ridiculous. And then you start talking about houses. Well, if you are dying in your mortgage and you can barely afford to make the payments, and then people will say, well, it's an investment for my future. No, it's not. Because if you're taking out a 30-year loan and you have a 20% down payment with interest rates the way that they are right now, if you buy a $500,000 house, over the course of 30 years, you've paid over $1 million for the house. Then you go to sell the house for $1 million, which is what you paid for it, but you think you only paid $500,000 for it, but you really paid $1 million for it because of the interest. You go to sell it, and then after all of the improvements you have to put $10,000 into improvements, and then you have to pay the realtor fees of whatever percent it is, 4%, so $40,000. So that's $50,000 in the hole that you are because you were making an investment. A house is a liability, not an investment. So if you're going to buy a liability, buy the cheapest liability that you can buy. That's what I do. That's what I did. Cheapest house I could buy. In the area that I was looking in. And that goes with everything. You know, somebody will say, I need a new phone. But they'll buy an iPhone. And it's like, well, you know, this LG or this Samsung was $150. Or you could have bought a used iPhone for $200. But you just paid $1,200 for this iPhone. Why? Oh, well, I needed a new iPhone. Well, that was a new iPhone too. Why didn't you buy that one? That's the older model. I need the new one. No, you don't. Absolutely not. That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so when it comes to saving, when it comes to not spending, it's not even about saving. It's about not spending. I simply don't spend money on things that I don't need. I don't need a lot of things. If I do need something, it's going to be the cheapest thing possible. I buy imitation Dawn dish soap about once every 2 years because I water it down. I have laundry Tide Pods that I paid $9 for. Now they're up to like $23 on Amazon because that's how long it's been since I bought laundry soap. Because I only use one pod every 3 washes. Because like I said, the agitation cycle does most of the work. Look at my shirt. It's white. It has no stains, no problems. My shampoo is VO5. My makeup is from the Dollar Tree. I make my own dog food. I have one television. I don't need more than one television. I actually don't need a television at all. I could watch it all on my laptop, but I only have one TV, and that's going to be a new rule in every house that I live in. One TV in the house. That's it. Because if you're watching TV in the living room and you're like, I need to go to bed, and then you go to bed and you turn on the TV in your bedroom, you might as well have just slept on the couch. Just household stuff. I no longer buy decorations. I don't try and update my wardrobe on a yearly basis. I don't update my bedding on a yearly basis. If I need something, I'll buy a kitchen table and see if somebody can give me their chairs, which is something that I did over there. I renovated my kitchen, and I only bought new cabinets where I had to buy them in order to meet code. In order to meet the code in California in case I ever want to rent or sell the house again. So Everything else was just refinishing what I already had and putting on new countertops because those got tore up. But that's it. I mean, it's hard to say in so many ways because I've been doing this for so long that you really do. I mean, retraining your brain is the best way to do this. And I get comments all the time. I mean, every day. I'd rather die than live like you, you know. And we also live in such a self-entitled society that people don't realize how lucky we have it in America, the UK, Australia. There are literally people starving to death. That's another pet peeve of mine when people go, oh my God, I am starving. No, you're not. That is disrespectful to people who are starving. People in North Korea and Ethiopia, parts of Africa, where they have distended bellies and they're covered in flies and they have no strength to move. And all they can do is hold their hand out, hoping that the next traveler, passerby, who has a camel or a horse or something will give them some sort of food, except those people that are on those caravans don't have any food either, so they just have to sit there and watch a child starve to death. And then people here in America, they're so ungrateful. And I think about those things every day, and I thank Jesus and I thank God every single day for the privilege that we have here in the United States. And I'm not talking about crazy white privilege or female privilege or whatever. If you live in the United States, Australia, UK, you have a roof over your head and you have food in your belly, you are a privileged human being. And people are so ungrateful. And then they say, well, I need full insurance. I need to get that degree in sociology, or I need to get my degree in gender studies. I need a new car. And then they don't think about the other people in the world. They really don't. And that makes me sad sometimes. And whenever I feel like I need to buy something, that is just a complete luxury, I'll look at that item and it's like, okay, it costs $150. Can't I just take this $150 and send it to this company that will feed that starving child that I keep seeing in my head on the side of the road? But people don't think that way. People are extremely self-centered. That's something that needs to be brought back. That's an old-fashioned habit that needs to be brought back. Think of others before you think of yourself. It's a sad, sad world that we live in. That we can't even see the abundance and great and amazing things that are standing right in front of us, and we sit here and act like it's not good enough. Like, I don't get paid enough. My house is a piece of junk. I hate my car. Just ridiculous things. Anyway, okay. So there are a million different ways to save money around the house. You can use less soap. You can use no soap. You can turn off the lights to save on electricity. You can put things on a power strip and turn off the power strip at night. And then when you come back home from work the next day, turn the power strip on because there's not anybody in the house anyway. That's going to save you at least 30 or 40% off your electric bill. You can wear clothes 2 or 3 times before you wash them. You can use dirty socks for dusting instead of buying a professional duster. You can dust with water instead of whatever dusting thing people use. And you can start looking at companies that are taking your money every single time you walk out of the house and start thinking about it. You know, why am I walking down this laundry detergent aisle that has 300 options of laundry detergent? I only need one. And then I actually get overwhelmed in the laundry detergent aisle. Why am I buying paper towels when I can use washcloths that are reusable, better for the environment, and just as convenient? And then people will say, I need paper towels because my dog has accidents. Well, that's what toilet paper is for. Just every single purchase that you all make, consider it. Is it a need or is it a want? And if it is a need, are you buying the lowest cost need that you can, or are you buying the expensive one because you want that more expensive one? If you need a car, you can buy a Corolla or a Ford, whatever those little Fords are, or a Chevy Aveo, or you can buy the big Z71 Chevy something or other, and you can get 12 miles to the gallon instead of 35. It's up to you. Long-term choices. And then you can, when people say, I would hate to be you, it must be horrible being a hermit, try and keep up with me for a day. You wouldn't be able to, because I am almost never home. Me and the dogs are out having fun all day long, every day. I'm getting my exercise. You don't know my life and I don't know yours, but I do know that if you're on my YouTube channel making negative comments, that your life is probably a lot worse off than mine is. All right, folks. I hope that this video has been helpful. Wants versus needs. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.